Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today. There are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront and in exchange shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
And now it's time for No Pucks Given with Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now. Penguin Scoop's locker room buzz and straight-up analysis. No fluff, all hockey. Now, here's Dan.
It is No Pucks Given. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, including Odyssey Podcast Network from Los Angeles. The Penguins are on a week-long West Coast road trip, and I'm going to test out a theory that I'm going to outsmart everybody and stay all week in Los Angeles and commute back and forth to Anaheim for a couple of days. We'll see. We'll see if that drives me nuts or if I made the right call. So from my downtown LA hotel, and it is a little bit interesting outside. It's No Pucks Given, episode 33 or 34. I've lost count. Here's what's on tap for this episode, because I put out a quick Twitter call as well for some questions at the end of the podcast. And I thought there were some interesting questions I didn't see coming. By the way, I'm not losing my voice. I just had the spiciest spicy beef basil at this little food hall. Oh my God, it was so good. So good, but I'm losing my voice. Or I guess I'm a little bit raspy. Anyway, so here's the topics du jour on No Pucks Given. First, we're going to talk about the rookies, all five of them, quite frankly. We're going to get into each of them from Ville Koivunen, his play and being sent down, through the other, Kindel, Brunick, Šilovs, and Filip Hollander. We're going to get into the, I'm just going to call it what it is, unfounded trade speculation. We're going to talk about Dan Muse's system. I had a pretty good bead on it, but one of the a coach who knows Dan, not this Dan, that Dan, helped me put a couple more pieces of the puzzle in place and really defined it in a way that I can share with you in easily digestible increments. We've got it. We finally have cracked the Dan Muse code. We'll also talk about the Penguins goalie situation. I thought Saturday was unfortunately exactly what I expected to see, not just from the team, but in net as well. The good and the bad. We're going to get into that. And of course, a handful of reader questions. So No Pucks Given. It is, I'm recording this East Coast time. It's Sunday evening. West Coast time, it's middle of the afternoon. Sun is shining and everybody's out having a good time. Let's talk about the rookies first. I think the easy one, we don't have to spend much time on this because it's almost not interesting to dissect or analyze Ben Kindel. We've been over it backwards and forwards. How well he is playing, you can go ahead. Just throw caution to the wind. Whatever jersey you want, you can go ahead and buy your Ben Kindel jersey. That kid's going to last more than 9 games. And if they, for some reason, do not keep him past 9 games, you have full permission to go a little batty. Harrison Brunick, also, I can't see them sending him back to juniors after 9 games or even before 9 games. He's having ups and downs. That was to be expected. He's a defenseman. It's so much more complicated to be a defenseman, especially when you're 19 years old. He's having a few growing pains. He's making a few mistakes. The good thing about Brunick is that he's not letting the mistakes weigh him down. He does seem to be learning from them. He's still holding onto the puck a bit too long in some instances. That's just going to have to work itself out. And let's see what else we got here. In terms of the rookies, I mean, we've been over them in the post games and in print. I think the interesting one right now is Ville Koivunen, because he was good, so good at the end of last year. 7 assists in 8 games, playing with Crosby, playing with Malkin. Looked like he belonged, smart and quick and even a little feisty, showing those hands and that playmaking ability. It wasn't there at the start of the regular season. He was good in preseason. He was really good with Ben Kindel and Avery Hayes. I mean, really good. Puck drops for the regular season, and then all of a sudden, yikes, his game just crumbled. First things first, I disagree with sending Koivunen to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. Full stop. I would have maybe scratched him for a game when Brian Rust came back on Saturday. I would have maybe dropped him down to the third line with Kindel for a couple of games or a few games, or long term. I would have gone that route before sending him down to Wilkes-Barre. Don't forget, this year begins a whole new transaction rule. There are no more paper transactions with regard to sending a player down. In years past, you could demote a player and you just say, hey, hang out for a few days. You know, we're going to work out some other things. You just sit tight, practice with the big club, and then we'll recall you in a couple or a few days. Teams also did things like that in order to save salary cap space. Remember the one year the Penguins were right up against it, and Jim Rutherford every day was sending 2 and 3 players down, technically sending them down to Wilkes-Barre, saving 10, 12, 20,000 bucks at a clip, just trying to accrue as much salary cap space as possible. Well, that's gone now. Over, done with. If you reassign a player, they actually have to go report and play at least one game. So Koivunen had to make that drive to Wilkes-Barre or wherever they were playing. I didn't look at the schedule. That's not where my headspace is. So he actually has to go report and play a game or 3 or however many until the Penguins deem him ready to be brought back. It's a mistake, though. Absolute mistake, because he did play well in preseason. It wasn't, if he had played poorly with Kindel and Avery Hayes, then you're like, something's wrong. Maybe last season was a flash. But no, I saw the exact same player in preseason that I saw at the end of last season. Whether it was playing with Crosby that sort of intimidated him, look, Sidney Crosby is kind of scuffling a bit right now. He's fighting his game. So I imagine Crosby was looking for some help. You could see Sidney Crosby in the Penguins home opener, kind of on the bench, giving Koivunen, let's call it some tough love or some tips, or telling him what he wanted from Koivunen. That, it wasn't a good look for 2 games for the rookie, but I would have found somebody to waive. I would have found some avenue to keep him on the NHL roster. The other one I want to talk about, Philip Hollander. I can see the Hollander fan club growing, and people want to go back. Kingerski, you only gave him a C+ in training camp. I'm like, yeah, that's about what he deserved in training camp. A bit vanilla, conservative, staid, not very impressive. He's a bit bigger and stronger than I anticipated. His moments have come near the net, along the wall, shielding the puck, winning pucks. That part surprises me a little bit because he was a goal scorer last season in the Swedish league. So I expected a bit more sniping and a bit less grinding. To Hollander's credit, he's been good. Don't get over your skis and start, trying to pencil him in as an all-star or demanding he play top 6 minutes. Maybe ease up a little bit there. Dan Muse, I thought, had an opinion or a take that I could go along with, because I didn't grade Hollander very well in training camp. And Dan Muse said, listen, coming from Sweden, I know he's played in North America before, but after spending a couple of years there, I thought there was an adjustment in training camp. He's like, I thought he got better as it went on. So he was kind of, if you want to read between the lines, Dan Muse was basically saying my C+ was about right, but they, with some knowledge, with some faith, put that faith in Hollander to keep him on the big club. Whether or not it's going to be rewarded, I suppose the best thing any prospect can get is a chance, and he's getting a chance. If you're playing beside Ben Kindel right now, you are going to get the puck. You're going to get the puck in a scoring zone, or you're going to have a chance to set him up in the scoring zone. We'll see where it goes. Is he just a body, or is he somebody who can contribute long term? I'm in the middle on that one. I think he's more than just, he's more than a jag, just a guy. I don't know how impactful he's going to be, though. I tend to think marginal, small sort of impact, but let's see. That is the interesting part. He is defensively responsible and smart enough that, in fact, you can give him a chance and run with it without crippling your team or hurting your lines. So those are the four skaters. Artūrs Šilovs, we'll hold him for the goalie conversation. The trade talk now. Pittsburgh Penguins trade talk. 11 minutes and 35 seconds into this show, I could spend 8 seconds on it and be done. Actually, I could spend one word on it. It would be what a bovine might drop. I don't understand why there are a couple of big name journalists out there who just kind of won't let it go. I almost think that they're doing it just to twerk a nipple, just to tweak it, just to sort of kind of keep it going, being the wrestling bad guy a little bit. First, obviously over the summer, there was the Sidney Crosby stuff. But over the last week or so, ESPN has unfettered talked about the Evgeni Malkin trade scenarios, going so far as to report that it's general consensus Malkin will be a Florida Panther soon. Now, here's the thing about that. And I have this secondhand, not firsthand, not from Kyle Dubas, but I have this secondhand that perhaps some in the Penguins organization hear these rumors, hear these reports, and scoff with colorful language. I think that probably tells you all you need to know about it. It did to me. You get eye rolls. You get, what the bleepity bleep are you talking about? Is it impossible? No, I think it makes great sense. And that's why it's being kept alive, because every amateur GM, from me to you to, every other person in media says, well, that's perfect. The Panthers need a center for 1 year. Malkin has 1 year left. Malkin owns a house in Florida. By the way, so does every other Russian hockey player. Good Lord. It's not exactly special that Evgeni Malkin owns a house in Florida. Half the NHL, I think, owns a house in Florida. So that is not a good enough reason. And to be honest, go back to Evgeni Malkin's preseason or his training camp. Media availability. He kind of struck the same tone that Chris Letang struck with me last spring, when I essentially had to tell Chris Letang to tell me no. Because Letang was sort of talking in a bit of a circle and acquiescing to, he's like, listen, it's a business. And I'm like, yeah, but you have the final say. He's like, well, right, yeah, I want to stay, but it's a business. You're like, okay. And what that means is these guys understand the greater situation. Evgeni Malkin essentially said the same thing, although maybe in a little bit of a different English. He did not say, oh, look, Brad Marchand got traded, so can I. Didn't say that. He said it looked weird when Brad Marchand got traded. And he didn't know how he would feel if the Penguins came to him with a request to waive his no movement clause. He didn't know how he would feel. Kind of weird. I think that is probably the most honest answer any of the three have given. They don't know what Kyle Dubas is going to do. Everybody who's been in professional sports has seen a general manager, a president, or an owner say one thing on Tuesday. This guy is my coach. We are not trading this player. Our team isn't for sale. And a couple of weeks later, the exact thing that was denied becomes reality. So from that standpoint, Malkin, I guess was admitting reality isn't necessarily completely and entirely, totally under his control. If it is, he's staying. And even if it's not, he's probably staying. I don't want to criticize colleagues. I don't want them criticizing me, and I'm not going to criticize them. It's easy to say those things from 1,000 miles away. It would be very difficult for me or Yoey or Taylor or Matt, Seth, to go there, because we talk to these guys, and they're just they couldn't scoff any harder if they tried when the topic is broached. What did Sidney Crosby say? How many times do I have to answer this question? So I think that is it. From the Sidney Crosby trade talk through the Evgeni Malkin trade talk, how many times do I have to answer this question? All right, topic number 3 here on the No Pucks Given. In fact, let's do this. We're going to take a break on the podcast side, on the Odyssey Podcast Network. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Dan Muse's system, the goalies, and the reader questions. Some of you are starting to pick at some scapegoats. I don't know if I agree, but there's also a couple points I do agree with. So that, the videos.
Are you ready to finally make that dream a reality? Maybe it's updating your kitchen, paying down high-interest credit cards, or covering tuition. Your home is more than where you live. It's also your most powerful asset. At Unlock, we make it simple to turn equity into options. With a home equity agreement, you can access cash today without taking on monthly payments. Imagine the freedom to invest in your home, reduce financial stress, or finally start that big project you've been putting off. It's your home. It's your future. Unlock it today. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
Side, we keep rolling. On the podcast side, we take a break now. Let's talk about Dan Muse's system here. I've been thinking I knew it was a conservative sort of counterattack with an aggressive underbelly. I was putting it together and I got a text. You know what? I suppose I can tell you because he's going to be coming on the podcast or doing some videos with us as he did last season. Coach Francis is going to be joining us. His travel schedule is insane right now, and mine is kind of insane. So we're trying to figure out how to do this. We'll get there. And full credit to Francis because, I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit out of school. I hope I don't embarrass Francis. But, now that he's getting into his mid-30s, good Lord, I've known him since he was a teenage broadcaster. I was the play-by-play guy in Johnstown. He was the son of the head coach. He was a better play-by-play guy than I was. And he used to make tapes every game, and he'd crawl up into the catwalk and call the game. And I had him in the booth a couple times, and I'm like, man, this guy's better than I am. I digress. Francis eschewed the media aspect and got into coaching and NAHL, scouting with the USHL, runs a prestigious hockey school now, Total Package Hockey, which a couple of the Penguins prospects have come through. Francis sent me a text just a couple of days ago saying, look at Muse's 1-1-3. And just you can visualize that. Look, when Mike Sullivan was being conservative, it was a 1-2-1, or rather a 1-2-2. Sorry, I was thinking of the penalty kill. Sullivan had a 1-2-2, but it seemed like that second layer was always forward. They were trying to pressure teams, create pressure. It was always basically a 2.5-1, or a 2-1-2, or sometimes a 4-1. Heck, sometimes it was a 5-0, and then they would chase back for an odd man break. Obviously, that didn't work out so well the last few years for the Penguins because they really weren't fast enough to execute that jump. Well, now the Penguins are faster. But Muse has that 1-1-3, which what it does is it creates 3 to 4 layers through the neutral zone, where that second one can jump forward, can jump back, can slide laterally. One of the 3 can do the same thing. And actually, you're seeing quite a bit of that because one of the players, and let's just say the defensemen really like this system, really like this 1-1-3 that Muse has them in. And what you'll see, I mean, you'll never see 1-1-3 because they're always kind of looking forward. A defenseman kind of sneaks into the forecheck. That's the interesting thing. You'll see an Erik Karlsson or Chris Letang or Ryan Shea jump forward, and it looks like you're like, no, what are you guys doing? That's actually part of the deal. And I'm double checking some of the text. Yeah, it is a 1-1-3. You ever say something, you know it to be true, and then you have this momentary flash of doubt? Yeah, I just went through that. Like, oh God, what if I screw up and have to do this video all over again? No, fortunately, it is a 1-1-3. It begins to play like a 2-1-2 when you slide that defenseman up, but the unexpected nature of it. You look up and there's Harry Brunick skating at you, or Erik Karlsson, or whatnot. It begins to be difficult to have very easy, staid, regimented, structured breakouts because it gives the Penguins a bit more flexibility in their aggression. At the same time, when they need it to be, it's also very structured because now you're going to have those 3 or 4 layers through the neutral zone, which is impossible to skate through, but you can drop a defenseman back to get back to that back wall and get the puck and bring it forward. It becomes very difficult to dump it in against the Penguins. Or at least it's supposed to. You saw all of this breakdown on Saturday night. You saw the complete breakdown, anarchy, individual plays. You saw it all fly out the window on Saturday in that 6-1 loss to the New York Rangers. That can't really be the gauge of everything. At least it shouldn't be. So that is kind of the defensive structure, the schematics of Dan Muse's system. You also see when it's go time in the first period, when the Penguins actually were taking it to the Rangers, 6, maybe 7 shifts in a row, a Penguins defenseman controlled the puck below the dots. 6 or 7 straight shifts. Every single pairing rolling through twice. Got down low, made it a 4th stick in the battle, created pressure on the Rangers. They'd been able to hold that or get it back in the second period. Would have been an entirely different game, but they give up the shorty. The Rangers really pressed. The Rangers smelled blood Saturday, and the Penguins really weren't ready for it. The Penguins were due for a bad game. You didn't think Justin Brazeau was going to score 50 goals, did you? You didn't think that, Evgeni Malkin was going to have 2 points per game, did you? Some other players did play well. That's not the point of the podcast. Of course, Kindel gets his first NHL goal, and that was fun. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy these kids. I enjoy joking with them and teasing them a little bit and getting it back. Although Tristan Brose is the kid that gives it back the most. You get what I'm saying, though. They are an enjoyable crew that isn't yet sick of us media folk anyway. All right, so that is the Dan Muse system. Let's get to topic number 4 now, the goalies here on No Pucks Given. Artūrs Šilovs has played 2 games, one pretty good that he wasn't really tested, the 3-0 shutout. He was tested, but they were one-offs. It wasn't a string or stream of pressure. Tristan Jarry got better as the game went on in game 2. He was leaky, unsure of himself, a bit unsteady in the first period, but he got through it. He was really good in the third period. If you are one of those who want to see the Penguins win games and you want to see players perform well, that was a good harbinger for Tristan Jarry. The pressure is on. He's battling for his job. The pressure was on as the other team was pressing with the game on the line. And he held the fort and did so with strength. He didn't hold the fort by scrambling or getting lucky. He held the fort by making good saves. Save after save after save in that third period against the New York Islanders. Now, Artūrs Šilovs is a different matter because it's going to be important to remember where he is in his career. He hasn't played a lot of games at the NHL level. And because of that, he's still a rookie, don't forget. Because he doesn't have a lot of experience, Kyle Dubas used that word, runway. We have the runway to give to the player to see how he performs and let him grow and make mistakes and overcome things, so on, and so forth. Basically, what Dubas was saying was, he's going to have some clunkers and stinkers, and we're going to let him get through that. We're going to let him work his way through it because sometimes you learn more from getting beaten than you do from winning. Actually, I think that's a general rule of thumb. You almost always learn more from losing than you do from winning. On Saturday,
Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today. There are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront and in exchange, shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
saw everything wrong with Šilovs' game. The rebound control was okay at best. There were some juicy ones. He makes great saves down low. You get within 20 feet, you get a high danger chance. And Šilovs is tough to beat. He genuinely is. He is a difficult goalie to beat. But then if you get him at 40, 45, 50 feet with a bit of traffic, not even heavy traffic, just a bit of traffic, Adam Fox scores a couple of goals, one beyond the circle and one at the blue line. Neither were touched, and they just whistled on by. They weren't even that hard, to be honest. That's the problem. That was the exact thing. That was the bugaboo that killed Šilovs against Edmonton a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Evan Bouchard from the blue line. Boom, boom, boom. Teams are figuring it out. The Islanders the Rangers in game one were trying him. The Penguins blocked a lot of shots in game one. They got a couple through in game three. So with Šilovs, I suppose what you see now is not what we're supposed to judge. What we see now is kind of a snapshot on a moving train. Where it is today is not where it should be in a month or 2 months. If he's still giving up these long-range goals and kicking rebounds all over God's creation, then there's a problem. If he's doing that into January, there is a real problem. The Penguins know this. All right, that's topic 4. Where's number 5? Okay, number 5, reader questions. As we get to the 30-minute mark, reader questions. From Jägersburg. Why is Ryan Shea on the team? Is it a coincidence and they send Ville Koivunen down, they get beaten? Okay. I go through this every year, wherein people begin to develop players they don't like or scapegoats, and they just everything that player does now seems wrong, way wrong. So you can do a lot better than Ryan Shea in terms of finding a scapegoat. Shea has been solid. He has a couple more turnovers than I think he'd like. But that's also because he is playing a full 200 feet. You know, some of those turnovers are kind of inconsequential in the offensive zone. I don't recall anywhere in my notes where he's had a bad D zone giveaway in the first 3 games. And that's really where you can't have it happen. He's also playing with Chris Letang. And if you want my God's honest truth and opinion on the matter, Chris Letang is starting to concern me because he's not playing like Chris Letang. He's playing sort of like the very conservative, nicked up, injured Chris Letang of last season. So if you look closely, you'll see it's Ryan Shea going end to end and not Chris Letang. I very much like Ryan Shea as a player. He is not a $10 million top pairing D guy. I don't think he would argue with that. But in terms of being a regular, consistent NHL contributor, yeah. Look, watch him battle near the net. Watch him move the puck forward. Watch him get involved in the play. He's doing everything they ask of him and a bit more. Lot to like about Ryan Shea. Don't make him your scapegoat. Now, in terms of Ville Koivunen, no, just because A exists and B exists does not mean A plus B. There's no causation between Koivunen going down and the Penguins getting getting slapped on Saturday. None. Koivunen had not been a contributor in the first couple of games. No, I think we talked about quite a bit top of the show. That was certainly, I wouldn't have sent him down, but sending him down certainly didn't impair the Penguins. Jim Stripsky asks, Tommy Novak had 1 hit in the opener, 2 hits in game 2. Is he playing better and playing on the wall? Yes. He certainly came to life, did Tommy Novak, in game 2. He certainly is putting in an effort to be a better hockey player and not a soft perimeter guy. He's putting in the effort. So credit where it's due. Do I think he's succeeding? No, I just don't. He's got a ways to go, but if he's putting in the work, let's see how far he can take it. There's no question he's got hands, offensive instincts. And that was the Penguins' gamble last year, that they could help him uncover all of this, unlock all of this. Right now, he's still losing way too many wall battles. He's still getting knocked off the puck. He's not hard to play against. Again, but there's the effort anyway. So can he turn it around? Yeah, he's not like he's 35 trying to reinvent himself. He's still in his mid-20s trying to reinvent himself. So if they want to run him out there, he's going to. I mean, he makes $3.5 million. Yeah, they're going to run him out there. He makes $3.5 million for a couple more years. Let's see, what else do we have here? I didn't see who gave me the question about Sam Poulin. Oh, Steel City gives me the question. When would be the best time to move on from Sam Poulin? Well, the question confuses me, Steel City, because why would you want to? That just seems like I don't know. You have a player who actually is now beginning to improve. Better late than never. He had a really good training camp in preseason. He's a heavy player. What is he? 6 foot tall, 227 pounds. He's a brick block. Maybe down the road, he does become a useful fourth line penalty killing type who can chip in 10 goals. It's not what he wanted when he was a first-round pick back in 2019, and he had designs on being a top 6 center or winger, a power forward who scores 25. He's had to mature a lot in the last few years. He doesn't shy away that he went through some mental health stuff. He doesn't sugarcoat it, doesn't hide it. He doesn't talk about the specifics, and nor should he. But I know it was really tough on him, and he looked me dead in the eye when I asked him, And I said, you do look better this training camp. Please don't take that as an insult. You look a step quicker. Are you? It's like, no, I am playing better, though. My conditioning is better. I finally feel healthy mentally and physically. Looked me dead in the eye. I said, last couple of years, I did have mental health issues I was going through. And it was sincere. Why would you get rid of him? What do you gain by getting rid of him? Now, if you flip that question, Steel City, and you asked me, is Sam Poulin better off somewhere else? I'd say yes. Unequivocally, I'd say yes. I would say getting away from Wilkes-Barre, getting a new start, new team, new coach, all of the above would be better for him. I think it would shortcut his path to the...
Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today. There are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront and in exchange, shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
NHL. Whether or not, but I asked him that directly last April, was it? After practice, before a playoff game, a day before a playoff game. I would never ask us on a game day. But I said, are you committed to, sticking this out with the Penguins if it doesn't work out this summer? Would you ask to go somewhere else to get a fresh start and to get away from some of this stuff? And he's like, no, I want to be here and I want to make it with the Penguins. So that's that situation. I don't know what else to tell you about it. I think it'd be better for him to get away, but he gets to make the call, right? Well, I take that back. Not quite literally. But if he is content to fight his way up, then the Penguins have no reason to say no. All right, let me see here. RJ asks, is a 2-1 start reason enough to begin to have a change of thinking and pull back on all the trade talk? Well, no, RJ. Yes, the Penguins are still open for business. The price tag on Brian Rust is still sky high. And I suspect the price tag on Rickard Rakell is still high. It would take something special to pull Evgeni Malkin and Chris Letang out. Next summer, when Malkin retires, it's going to change the whole dynamic. The trio will be done if indeed Malkin retires. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll have that conversation when it sort of happens. But no, a 2-1 start or a couple of wins by in no means changes the Penguins' need to continue this building process. And however Kyle Dubas sees fit, whether it's on the fly, whether he begins to gut the team a little bit, or if he kind of keeps just, these little tiny moves. Don't forget, Bill Zonin and Will Horkoff were first-round picks back in June. And Horkoff begins the Michigan season with a hat trick. We haven't seen much of Zonin yet. And I really wanted to see what Bill Zonin had. With his size and truculence and skill, I was intrigued about him. Of course, I also wasn't intrigued about Ben Kindel. Go figure. I think those are the reader questions I wanted to get to. I appreciate all of you on this No Pucks Given. Do me a favor. We're going to have it on the YouTube channel, but it's on the Odyssey Podcast Network. So pick that up wherever you get your podcast, the Apple, Spotify, the Amazons, and so on and so forth. Leave a comment or two. Praise, of course, please. Tell me how great I am. I can't get enough of that, or any of that, to be honest. So YouTube and the Odyssey Podcast Network. This is No Pucks Given. I'm Dan Kingerski. We'll talk soon. Have fun.
Are you ready to finally make that dream a reality? Maybe it's updating your kitchen, paying down high-interest credit cards, or covering tuition. Your home is more than where you live. It's also your most powerful asset. At Unlock, we make it simple to turn equity into options. With a home equity agreement, you can access cash today without taking on monthly payments. Imagine the freedom to invest in your home, reduce financial stress, or finally start that big project you've been putting off. It's your home. It's your future. Unlock it today. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.